folks. Oh, knocked something over. It's here. If you followed me for a while, if you've watched my content for a while, or been a subscriber for a significant amount of time, you've probably seen me field questions about, Chase, why aren't you using card sorting robots? Why don't you have automation of any kind in your business? What would you do if you did get something like that? You've probably seen me be rather negative to bearish against those types of tools, equipment, whatever you want to call it. And there's a few reasons I've been that way. There's been a lot of new card sorting machines that have come into the market in the last few years, and they fall kind of into two categories. Either they're rather expensive but do a lot of cool things, or they're rather cheap, so they're easy to get, but they don't really function very well, or they have a reputation of being difficult to maintain and keep running. I'm not necessarily opposed to the idea of automating things. I'm trying to talk to small individual or small team businesses. I don't really think that spending $25,000 on a Roka is necessarily the right move. Anyway, those places kind of position their machines as aspirational, right? This is the kind of thing that your business should be targeting to move towards. TCG Player, they own Roka. They try to get stores through that pipeline of like beginning seller to becoming a business to getting the growth acceleration program and build up and get big from that. And hey, one of the tools that you can use to increase your business efficiency and make more money is a Roka by TCG Player, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, and that kind of exists for, all of the higher end machines. And then the lower end machines like the Magic Sorter, you have to order them. They then make it and send it to you a few months later. Once you get it, I've heard a lot of, let's say, middling feedback about their functionality and how easy they are to set up and get going and keep going once they are. The other issue that I have, probably the main issue for me, these machines only improve the efficiency of certain parts of the process of taking cards from newly arrived, completely mixed bulk stock to listed and on the shelf ready to sell to a customer, right? So like, if you're using, say, a Roka to sort bulk that comes in, it takes a couple of hours to do 1,000 cards. It's gonna alphabetize them or set sort them. You're gonna have it set sort, and then you're gonna have it alphabetize and create a CSV to put your listings into TCG Player. It efficientizes the step where it's doing that sorting and creating the listings, but it's not getting the cards ready to go, and it's not conditioning. It's not taking the cards out and putting them on the shelf for you. People still have to do all those steps. If you have a process you're working that's like this across the board, step, 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 but now this one in the middle here gets super efficient, so it's 4 times the output. Well, to make that make sense, you need to have 4 times the inputs and then be able to handle 4 times the outputs. You need to get it up to here and across the entire board, and that can create its own issues, right? Hey there, Editing Chase here. Ignore my hair. I just wanted to go over that one more time because I didn't feel like I completely stated that in as clear a way as possible. So yeah, getting one of these sorting machines to 4x the output of like one of the middle steps means you're gonna have to 4x the input steps as well as 4x the steps going out of it. And another way to think about that is that if the machine's going to be doing all the sorting and the creating the listings for you, that means but it does it a lot more quickly. That means you're just going to be moving your time from one task to another rather than it just doing it for you and you having your hands free to do something else. You're going to be tied up doing something else that is required to make the machine work at that capacity. So instead of conditioning for a bit and then sorting for a bit and then listing for a bit and then putting the cards away for a bit, you're going to be conditioning and then conditioning and then conditioning and then putting cards away and then putting cards away and then putting cards away. And it doesn't actually conserve your time. It actually ends up creating more work in order to make the machine be as efficient as possible to justify paying for the machine. So I just wanted to make sure that I got that point clearly stated. So I don't feel like that the card sorting machines that are positioned as like you can drop it in your business and it solves a whole bunch of problems and just hyper efficientizes your business. Nobody's really talking about how you have to warp the entire rest of the business around feeding that machine and cleaning up after it. That's my initial position on the card sorting machines. So, the other day when Seb, co-founder and CEO of Card Castle, reached out to me and said, hey, we are interested in maybe sponsoring your YouTube channel and maybe setting you up with a CardBot so you can see what you're doing with it. CardBot is their card sorting machine. I was a little skeptical, but I'm willing to listen. I'm always willing to listen and say maybe rather than just no. I do mostly think that the existing card robots that I knew about are best for like medium-sized businesses that are looking at hiring an employee to do what the robot would do. If you're a two-person team and you're looking at hiring a third person to run your store, the robot can't take out the trash. The robot can't take over on a sick day. It's going to need somebody to man it. It's going to need somebody to take care of the cards coming out of it and, all that. But yeah, I was willing to listen to hear what Card Castle had to say. Card Castle are an Australian business. They have an app that you can use to manage your collection. It's free to use the app up to, I think, 1,000 cards. You can also tag stuff in your collection for different things. I haven't really messed with the app very much yet, but I'm sure I'll make something about it before too long. But they also have this card sorting robot. It's called the CardBot. And so we've been talking back and forth, and they said, great, we would like to send you a CardBot for free. You can use it, see what you like about it, just make a video about it for us. So this robot's come in. This is the robot here. This is me taking it out. Given the information that I have about this particular robot, I think it's actually going to help me more than, say, one of the others would. The main feature that makes it stand apart from like a Roca or a Fizzbatch or whatever is that it's a binary sort system. So rather than it alphabetizing or set sorting or anything like that, it's basically a pass-fail. So it's doing, you can have it pull rares out of a stack of cards, or you can have it sift for price and things like that. You can even have it do things like format legality, or if it's on the reserve list, or things like that. You can make a card list and it pulls things that match things on that list. So if you have like a buy list and people bring in a collection, you can pull out all the things that would be on the buy list. But yeah, it's a binary sort. So you put cards here in the middle, and then it's going to pick up the card and put it to one side if it doesn't meet criteria, and put it to the other side if it does. And I think that's actually going to work out pretty good for me in my business because it does it relatively quickly. It also creates the CSV listings so that you can drop that in TCG Player, and it's not going to make me have to like completely transform my processes. I'll do another video in probably a week or two about exactly how it is I'm changing my processes to work with the machine. I did rearrange my office setup, so I've got my inventory and the robot outside in the garage, and then I've got my desk here in the office. It's off my living room, so I get to have my office here with my family, but the inventory isn't taking up the space inside the house, growing a little out of control, and now it's all outside, so it's not so much in the way of everything. I'm not worried about humidity. I live in Arizona, so that shouldn't be an issue, and the temperature shouldn't be too much of a problem because it doesn't get really above 90 in the garage. So yeah, the machine just took a couple days to arrive once they sent it, because their manufacturing is actually based here in Arizona, which worked out really good for me. Didn't move here with that in mind, but that worked out. There's an aesthetic appeal to this machine too. It looks really nice. Like, it's all solid wood and metal. It looks like it's been designed for the purpose of being able to set on the counter and people can see it working. And it's not a loud, clunky eye and ear sore like a Fizzbatch is, right? Those are loud from what I can tell. Pricing is really not too bad either. So in order to get your CardBot, They do want a deposit. It's $1,750, so that's really relatively affordable compared to some of the other places or other machines that are out there. And then it's $250 a month after that, and that's a 36-month lease. After which you own it, so it's a lease to own system. Whereas other robots, they are not that. You have to give them back when you stop paying for them. That covers the hardware, and then the software. It's a subscription for $145 a month, or if you do annually, it's $1,450. So that is a bit pricey, but altogether for both the software subscription and the hardware for the first 3 years, you're looking at what, less than $400 a month. And then after the 3 years, you drop $250 off of that. Even if I weren't being offered the chance to use this thing without paying for it, that is something that I could reasonably feel like I could aspire to and cover the costs easily enough, and not be risking putting that money out there and it not actually work for my business, right? So like getting one of the more expensive ones that's several $100s a month on top of several $100s a month for the software, and maybe I can't really get it to work, and I'm just out that, this is a lot simpler for that. The guys at Card Castle, Seb, his brother Nick, Mitch, the marketing officer, and then Frank, who's the technical operations. They've all been really nice, very forward, very willing to talk. I've had several meetings with all of them. That's been a really pleasant experience. I can't say anything bad about those guys. For the record, the cost of the software, $145 a month, that is about the same price that you would pay in fees for a TCG Player Pro account if you're selling about $5,000 a month through TCG Player. It's about 2.5% extra for fees if you have a pro account. If you're going to exceed $5,000 per month in sales through TCG Player, then you could reasonably, if you're not using like the kiosk features TCG Player Pro offers, if you're just using like Quick List and Mass Price, then this will cover all the quick list functions and actually work better, in my opinion. And Mass Price, it could be reasonable for you to figure out how to do repricing on your own with spreadsheets rather than use Mass Price. If you're selling $7,000 per month, it might be worth $100 a month to spend 5 minutes repricing every morning or something like that. So that's it. That's the CardBot as I've got it right now. You can see it's sorted a big stack of Pokemon. I think these were battle styles. Yeah, battle styles. It's sorted a bunch of battle styles for me. You can see I've been hard at work trying to develop my processes for keeping up with it. And so I'll be coming out with another video before too long about how I'm currently settling into those processes, and that will be showing up here if you want to watch that. Until I make that video, it's showing another video that you'll probably find interesting.